Good morning, everybody. This is our regular business meeting for Tuesday, February 17th. First, we will begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. Salisbury, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I am here.
Commissioner District 2, Tim Sheldon.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Terry Jeffries is absent today.
Item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. Do we have any correspondence to come before this board today?
We do. The Washington State Liquor Control Board sent a special occasion license for Sunrise Equine Rescue. Arnold Hampton submitted an application for the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, and the Department of Natural Resources sent revenue information.
Thank you. Any further correspondence or organizational business? Hearing none. Item number 5, open forum for citizens input. This is your opportunity to speak about items that are not on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, we'd ask that you hold off and wait until that time comes up. You'll be given an opportunity to testify at that time. If it is not on the agenda, this would be your opportunity to speak to the county, the board, and to the community. You'll be given a 5-minute maximum per person, and a total of 15 minutes is expected for everybody combined. So we ask that you please be brief if you do. With that being said, is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on any item that is not on the agenda? Took longer to say that than they actually were going to go on that. Good. Item number 6, adoption of the agenda. Commissioner?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of County Commissioners adopt the agenda as presented today.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded for the approval and the adoption of the agenda as written. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 7, approval of the minutes. There are none, so we will skip that and move to item number 8. This is going to be quick. Okay, item number 8 is our approval of the action agenda. The action agenda is the time where we will speak on each individual item. We will go ahead and read it to you, but all of the items on the agenda will be taken under one vote. You will be given an opportunity after we read and address each item to either ask a question that will help you to decide whether or not to take it off for a separate vote. But if you'd like to testify, remember, take it off for a separate vote, please. After we ask that, you'll be given an opportunity to have it removed, at which time we will have an explanation of the issue itself and an opportunity to testify or ask questions in regards to it. With that being said, item number 2 on your agenda has already been stricken, so please take notice of that. So we have I will read item number 8.1 and 8.3. Commissioner Sheldon, if you will read 8.4, 8.5, and 8.6. That's on the other side. 8.6. Item number 8.1, approval of the memorandum of agreement between Mason County and Washington State University Extension that provides funding for an amount not to exceed $112,630 to provide programs in Mason County based upon the 2015 budget. Item number 8.3, approval to increase the district court judge pro tempore and district court commissioner hourly rates to $60 per hour to be more in line with comparable counties. The current rate is $48 per hour, and this rate was set on March 5th, 1996.
Mr. Chairman, 8.4, approval to accept grant funds in the amount of $7,290.39 from the Washington State Department of Ecology for a restoration project at Sunset Bluff Park. This funding would be used primarily to purchase native plants which would complete the project. 8.5, approval for the chair to sign the Skateboard Park Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with the City of Shelton and Shelton School District. This MOU would transfer the management of the skate park to the City of Shelton, while the school district would still retain ownership of the land. And 8.6, approval of the Veterans Assistance Fund applications for food, $150, and utilities, $1,745.62 for a total of $1,895.62, as recommended by the Veterans Service Office.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now that it's been read to the public, this is your opportunity to ask any question you may have in regards to any item that is on that list. that would help you to decide whether or not to have it taken off for a separate vote. But again, this is your opportunity to ask a question, not to give any type of comments. With that being said, does anybody have any questions in regards to any of the items you have had read to you?
I have a question about 8.6, Mr. Chairman. The rates for the district court judge pro tem and district court commissioner, are those as an independent contractor, or do we pay employment taxes?
8.3, you mean? 8.6 is the Veterans Assistance.
I'm sorry, 8.3.
So on 8.3, that I don't know. Could you please step out real quick and ask Bill to come in? We will find that out and make sure. Do you know, Madam Auditor, whether or not we pay tax on that?
They're employees. We're paying them as employees.
We're paying them.
Oh, we are paying them as employees?
As of that HR director, you know, display termination.
Good, we need it to actually make it look
They're
like we're...
ongoing, you know,
Yeah, I do know that they are classified as employees. The question is...
So as employees, all taxes have to be paid.
We'll wait one moment. And while we're waiting for that, are there any other questions for any of the items? Then how about we go ahead and take it off for a separate vote so we can ask that question? And
Sure. I would like to have 8.5 as a separate vote as well, the skateboard park.
okay.
I have some questions about that.
I will second 8.3 and 8.5 are removed for a separate vote.
I would move then, Mr. Chairman, that the items on the action agenda, except items, I'll stop here.
Could you please come up front, please? The Commissioner has a question. We think we know the answer, but we do need to make positive of the answer.
Yes, Frank, thank you. 8.3 addresses district court judge pro tem and district court commissioner's salaries. Are they treated as independent contractors or employees, and are taxes taken out of their check?
I don't have the answer, but I can find out and get right back to you.
Okay, we'll be taking that one off for a separate vote, so that'll work. Can you find out within the next few minutes?
Within the next few minutes.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay, with that being said, I will entertain a motion for the items.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Then I'll continue my motion to approve the items on the action agenda today, 8.1, 8.4, and 8.6.
I will second. It's been moved for the approval of the items 8.1, 8.4, and 8.6 on our action agenda. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Item number 8.5, approval for the chair to sign the Skateboard Park Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with the City of Shelton and the Shelton School District. The MOU would transfer the management of the skateboard park to the City of Shelton, while the school district would still retain ownership of the land. He was just here. There he is. Would you please?
Good morning.
Good morning. We don't own the land.
No.
What's it say again? The school district retains ownership of it.
Well, the school district. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Which
just a little history. When Walmart came, they needed, I think it was 3 more acres for the city's requirements for drainage and those things, and they purchased that land from the school district, and they paid the school district $115,000 an acre, which is pretty good because that's what they paid for the property for the store. My questions are about this agreement. I know it's been negotiated, but I read through it last night, and there's a lot of vague language in it. So who negotiated it, and where do we come up with the language that appears to me could be interpreted a lot of different ways?
Do you want me to take that? Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was
negotiated between staff, the city, commission and briefings, and between the three parties came up with the language that's contained in the agreement.
Okay. But I just, Mr. Chairman, I think it's very vague. And it binds other commissions later on.
Okay.
For example, it says here on 1.3, the fourth item, the city and the county agree that if by the end of the 5-year lease, funding has not been raised to either rebuild or relocate the skate park, the city and the county will negotiate an extension of this agreement to jointly close and decommission the state park and then return it to its original condition. So that binds another commission that won't be the same as this commission. Above that, the county pledges $5,000 annually for operations and provides the staff support needed for structural and ramp support repairs. It's difficult for me to approve this because I think that the language that is used is not definite. I'm used to language that says must or shall or will, and it leaves so many things in doubt that I think we're just kind of kicking the can down the road.
Okay. And Commissioner, just to share with you, we have briefed on that particular contract, I think, 5 times, maybe 4, between 4 or 5 times, and gone over it with the help of our attorneys as well. And but if you're uncomfortable,
I've been in some of those.
But if you're uncomfortable, I have no problem with holding off until we can figure something else out. So instead of moving it forward, would you agree to table it to a further?
Well, I'd rather. You see, what happens in this agreement is that it doesn't. We don't come to any conclusion, and that's my difficulty with it. And I'm not trying to be obstinate, but I just don't think we come to a conclusion. We, the county, have operated that facility. I went up there this morning, took a look at it. It looks pretty good. It's clean. It's an older facility, but we've operated it for probably, what, 12 years, John?
11 now.
11 years we've operated it in the city and have never come to a conclusion that I believe that it's a facility that the city should operate. And I just don't think the agreement gets us to that deal. I mean, we've been working on it for a long time, taking care of the maintenance, taking care of the capital facilities, repairs, and we don't have a clean break. And I think the fact that it's so vague is that we'll have it back in front of us and continue to just have a joint responsibility, which is not responsibility.
No, understandable. And though a lot of this came about because if you remember during the conversations in the past, you as well as others here, we wanted it removed from the county's roles, and it was either we get them to take over ownership or discuss the closure of it. Mm-hmm. And at one point you even said you don't want it reopened until this is done. And that's the urgency behind this. This does have, literally, it's a switching of the lease agreement to where the city becomes the person leasing it from the city or from the school district, not the county. We do agree to continue to help to make sure that they can afford to do it. And we had a few other things that are in here to at least allow it to continue to operate for the kids. And I agree that it may not be the most perfect agreement that we could enter into, but remember, there's more than one party involved here.
Right.
And
I understand.
Between the two, we brought down, there were some other issues that were much greater that would have required more money and everything, and we brought it down to this. But again, I'm comfortable with not having a motion and just allowing it to move forward, and we'll continue to work on it if you're not comfortable with it.
Well, I think we have to address the liability issues. There's no clause in here for insurance. It isn't clear if we carry this on our policy.
No, if the contract is between the city and the school, they handle all that. That's their contract. We're not involved in that contract.
It doesn't say that in here.
It does say that the contract, the lease, will be between the school and the school district. So that automatically makes them the responsible party if they're the ones with the lease.
I would disagree, because I think if it says responsibilities of the county and lists about 9, well, let's see, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 responsibilities that we would have. And if my child was hurt up there, I'd probably, I called my attorney, he'd probably say, well, I want you to take a look at everybody in this agreement.
Okay, I agree. Number one is, so the people in the audience know, assist the city with transfer of skate park to city management. That's number one. Provide any agreed monetary and non-monetary support required during the lease period. So otherwise, the $5,000 and the other parts that may be necessary to help them to maintain it. Mobilize community groups to help with the fundraising, maintenance, and cleanup of the facility, things that we have done before. Jointly write grants with the city to either construct a new skate park or renovate the existing one, so that anybody knows when you go after grants, when you combine, you have a better chance of getting grants. That's the way that part works. Mobilize cleanup work parties for the skate park when available, because we still do care about this skate park and the kids' ability to it, that we would still try to help mobilize some things. We had talked in the past about even working with the inmates to have them clean it at different times, working with the Squaxin tribe in the past have given monetary things. Transfer any spare parts and supplies of the skateboard park to the city. Well, it's no use for us to own these specific types of plywood if they're the ones that are going to be operating it, and provide any technical advice and service as requested, because we're the ones that have known how it was built. It makes sense. But with that being said, those are all the 7.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd agree to table it if we begin to work on a clause in here of some type of indemnification or insurance provisions, because I think those are the things that are not included here or apparent, and those would be issues if someone is injured up there. So.
Okay. Would you like to table or just not make a motion, so at the moment it goes away for lack of a motion, lack of a second?
That's fine.
Thank you very much, John. So item number 8.5 will go away for lack of a motion, and we will move on to item number...
Mr. Chair, you're not taking any public comment on this?
We can. Would you like to comment on it? Please.
Thank you, Commissioners. Tom Davis, 170 West Bushy Road. I thought this was a done deal, and I thought it was a positive done deal in terms of the collaborative effort and the significant collaborative effort between the city and the county. And I'm sure the city felt the same. Personally, as a taxpayer, I want the county to be involved in this. I want the county to have some skin in the game. I want them to be concerned about the safety, and I don't want them to not to be on the hook. Now, we differ in this in the sense that, okay, the bulk of the maintenance goes to the city, but the county to divorce itself from something that has such a significant benefit for the youth is a little disturbing. Divorce itself in terms of not wanting to take on the liability. In the last year, we've jettisoned the fairgrounds. Recently, there's no pool at the Shelton High School, and now the skateboard park comes into question, and that was the only bright side of this trend. I'm not sure where the county is going. Is the county trying to divorce itself from all the social amenities? I mean, there's talk about dumping the memorial hall. What's going on in the county? As a taxpayer, I just don't want the services. I want the county's involvement in the community. And the county seems to be getting to be reluctant to do that. Now, I understand there has to be some compromise, and understand that we have some budget difficulties that have to be addressed. But to completely back away from something that the county has seen the benefit of for many years, and say we're no longer going to do that, is just another piece of that trend that I see happening here. And if you're going to do that, then take a vote. If you're not going to support that, go on record and take a vote. Say, yes, I'm going to vote against this. And let it be whatever it's going to be. Kicking this can down the road after all this effort at this late date just doesn't seem right to me. When we get to this point, and with all the negotiations that have taken place up to this point, this is a formality. I mean, it's a formality on so many other issues. Why is it not a formality on this issue? This is budgetary dust. This is not even worth talking about. This should be, the county should wrap its arms around that and say, we're happy to invest in our youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on this? Okay, well, first I'm going to explain why, and I ask you to be brief. I'm going to explain why I'm allowing testimony on this issue. Normally I would not, but what it is it is assumed that item number, what is it? What do we have here? Item number 5, which is the open forum for citizens input, allows for you to discuss things that are not on the agenda. And because this was on the agenda, we're not given an opportunity to speak about it. And so that is why I'm allowing for an opportunity to speak now, because although, if this had not been on there, maybe somebody would have a chance or may have wanted to. That's why I'm allowing it. But I would ask that you stay strictly to this subject and be brief, please. Yes.
Steve Bloomfield, Southeast 391 Donovan Road, Shelton. It's disturbing to me that there is a trend that we're hurting the youth. They're the ones that are paying the price. Unfortunately, people in this room want the future of the county. If you want to succeed in this county, you don't succeed with the guys sitting here. You succeed with the kids that are coming forward. We have to allow them to build a future. And every time we restrict that, whether it's through the skateboard park or whatever, we delay the success of our future. Allow them to move forward. Now, if you're going to delay this, and apparently you are, that's fine, but may I please request you get back to this as soon as possible. And let's get the language straightened out if it needs to be straightened out in a manner that is acceptable to all parties. And let's get on with life and build a future for those.
Thank you. Anybody further who would like to testify on this issue? With that being said, again, normally I would not have allowed for testimony at the time, because without a motion, there is no testimony.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Let me just say again, I think as written, here's all I'm saying. I think as written that this is a very vague agreement. I would like it to be more definitive, okay? The first thing I'd like to see added to it is a section about insurance. That's all I'm saying, Tom. That's all I'm saying. I don't think that you can tie this to anything, any motives, or any feelings, tie it to a swimming pool. I don't want to. It's not tied to any fairgrounds. I think those statements are not applicable. What I'd like to see is more definitive language and a section specifically about insurance. I think that's important. I think as managers of the county, 3 commissioners, I'm just one of the 3 commissioners, and that's all I'm saying. I think it's important to have it in writing. And I'll repeat again, in agreements, I like terms like will, shall, responsibility, definitive statements. But I think this agreement, if I read it, or I'm not an attorney, but reading it, it leaves all kinds of questions in my mind of whose responsibility certain things will be in the future. That's all. And
And
I would hope, Mr. Chairman, that we could
those are
get
always,
another version and get this finalized in next week or the week after.
and that will be what we'll try to do, because, you know, anytime you ask a question that, of anything that puts the county in liability, we should take it seriously anyway, Commissioner, so
So
it's,
I attend
no
the
dishonor in that.
risk pool meetings. I'm the designated commissioner for the risk pool. I've been to those meetings every year for 8, 9 years. I can't remember. It's a big deal.
So, anything further on this, I'll move forward to the next.
Go right ahead.
Okay, with that being said, we'll move over to item number 8.3, approval to increase the district court judge pro tempore and district court commissioner hourly rate from $60 per hour to be more in line with comparable counties. The current rate is $48 per hour, and the rate was set on March 5th, 1996. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on that? Hearing none, before we bring it to the audience, I will bring up what is happening here. The judge pro tempore, the rate was set in 1996, has not been raised since that time. After this was brought to us by the courts, they showed us that we had prices and values ranging, I think it was well above 100 in certain areas, $100 and stuff. For us to bring it up to the very bottom comparable is what we were looking at with this one. And they are under contract, so we have to go out and get contract with these people. But even though they're under contract, we still have to pay them as employees because they have to show up to work at a certain time, a certain level, and do things that are required that we have control of. And as a business owner myself for many years, I understand that is the litmus test, but I'm sure there's a lot more that's involved with that. But with that being said, the question that was asked by the commissioner is whether or not this wage, there are taxes and unemployment and other benefits that are attached to it. With that being said, are you prepared now to come up and speak? Frank, would you please come address? Did I put your question correctly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Frank Intern, I just confirmed with payroll, and there are taxes withheld from those accounts as well as benefits endowed to that individual. So they are treated as employees.
Thank you. Any further questions on that?
No, I have.
Thank you very much, Frank. Commissioner?
If there's not any other discussion, Mr. Chairman,
No,
I would move the approval of item 8.3 to increase the district court judge pro tem and district court commissioner hourly rates to $60 per hour to be more in line with comparable counties. The current rate is $48 per hour, and this rate was set on March 5, 1996.
And I will second. We are putting forward the approval to increase the district court judge pro tempore and district court commissioner hourly rate to $60 per hour to be more in line with comparable counties. The current rate is $48 per hour, and this rate was set on March 5th, 1996. With that being said, is there anybody in the audience who would like to testify on this issue? Hearing none, Commissioner, do you have any comments?
No.
Okay, I will ask for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Okay, next, we have no public hearings today, so we will move on to item number 10, other business. Department heads and elected officials. Well, we had one, she left, and do we have any other department heads? Would you please come up and speak? Department heads first, if you, oh. Thank you.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Debbie Riley, the Environmental Health Manager with Mason County Public Health. In an earlier briefing with the commissioners, we talked about celebrating the successes of our health department, and I'm going to bring staff every now and then, and under item 10, we're going to talk about some of the things we did. Today we're going to talk about 3 of our minor programs, and they're not minor in the fact that they do a lot of public health. I mean, they are very, very important in communicable disease. And there's a lot of things that happen. It's a hit and miss sort of programs. But we're there, we're watching. With me today, I have Carol Spalding and Ben Shank. Carol is our longest employee. Ben is our newest employee. So we're getting quite a cross section here. I didn't think about that till we were sitting there. But we just want to give you the highlights of these 3 programs today. The first is our Vector program. For those of you that don't know, that's everything from mosquito surveillance for West Nile virus, home confinement agreement for dogs if they are unvaccinated and bite someone, and then those odds and ends. And I'm going to read down through these because I think you'll enjoy them. We sent in 2 birds for West Nile virus testing last year, that's all. Both of them were negative. We had 9 bat calls. We're kind of a batty county. We're constantly having bats. We sent in 7 for testing, and all 7 of those were negative. That hasn't been the case in the past. We've had a death by rabies in the late 90s. Dog bites, we had 3. No specimens were sent in for testing, but 1 animal was confined and then later euthanized by its owner. We had a cat bite call, and Carol might tell you a little more about that, but it was a Bengal tiger cub. We don't have a lot of information because they're kind of illegal to have as pets. 1 raccoon bite, and the specimen was not suitable for testing. I responded to that one. I can tell you the grandpa of the young lady who was attacked by the raccoon was a little upset with the raccoon, shot it in the head. We don't want any animals we might have to test for rabies shot in the head. Please use body shots because we have to send the brain in for testing. Okay, we had a wild mink bite. The young man who rescued the injured mink thought it was a ferret, thought he'd, had a major coup, he got a free ferret. It wasn't. We had bats reported up in Mason Lake, 2 separate bat encounters with unvaccinated cats, and 1 owner went to the expense of sending that bat to the Oregon State University lab for testing. It was negative, but it's so much cheaper to have your pets vaccinated than to do this after the fact testing. There is a bat colony in a residential attic. We had a miniature pinscher attacked by a coyote, and the dog had to go through a 6-month quarantine because it wasn't vaccinated. We had an unvaccinated cat attacked by a coyote in the county. It also required a 6-month quarantine. In August, we had swarming bees reported at 2 different places around the county. In September, we had cat waste, and cockroaches reported infesting a local mobile home park. And then in November, we had cockroaches and possums reported at that same mobile home park. I think the raccoons, or the possums, moved in as sort of a after or an artifact of the other things that had already been there and established. And then Carol handled the infestation of western conifer seed bugs, and there is a stink bug group in a residence here in town. So that's kind of the highlights of our Vector program. We also do a water recreation program. We do this to ensure that our citizens are swimming in safe, healthy, well-maintained facilities. We issued 17 annual operating permits for water recreation facilities, and these 2 folks did 5 spa inspections and 14 pool inspections throughout the year. Our indoor pools and spas are at the high school, Alderbrook Resort, and the Shelton Athletic Club. The rest are outdoor pools and are seasonal. We work with staff from the Department of Health and Department of Ecology Beaches program. Water samples are collected from 4 beaches here in Mason County that are used recreationally from Labor Day in May from Memorial Day in May to Labor Day in September. Those are Walker Park, Potlatch State Park, Toano State Park, and the Ellen Waterfront Park. If these beaches need to be posted for swimming, staff from the from our health department either post the signs on those beaches, or they give the signs to the homeowners or the park rangers at the parks, and they go out and hammer in the signs and post the beaches for us. We also do a shellfish biotoxin program, and this is part of an agreement with the State Department of Health. Mussels are collected at Gerald's Cove State Park every other week throughout the year, and then bused to the State Department of Health for biotoxins testing. If beaches need to be closed, once again, staff from our department, usually Carol here, either post the signs on the beach or provide those DOH signs for the property owners to use on the beach once again. And Carol was asking me how long we would be over here because that's what she's doing this morning. So she's going out to Gerald's Cove. She hauls up the basket, which is,
It's like a crab pot,
yeah,
a big mussel cage.
and she collects a certain number of mussels. And she's done this for years. She knows it perfectly. She knows how many she has to send depending on the size to have the right volume. I went out with her one day just to see how this goes on. And I was so interested with all the creatures I was seeing that I'd never seen before. So I was playing with the worms and stuff, and she's working and cleaning her mussels and hosing off the cage and stuff, and I was playing like a little kid. It was great fun. But these, like I said, they're minor projects just because they're not a funded project. We don't have, or a program, we don't have people assigned to them. These are add-ons to their regular work. So they'll be back again to tell you about those other programs. But we wanted to start with these because they're kind of interesting. Sometimes they get forgotten, so we started with them. And if you have questions for Carol or Ben or myself, we're here to answer those for you.
Okay, Carol, I had the opportunity to go over to your guys' facility for a going away party, and the stories of the bats was pretty.
Oh yeah, I've been here long enough, I got a lot of stories.
It was something. I never knew how big of an impact bats were to our jobs here and the stuff that we do. I was pretty impressed. A lot bigger than people realize. The interaction we have, our employees. I said, I've never dealt with them, and I don't want to. But thank you for yes.
That's okay. I have one of my degrees is in biology, so dead things don't bother me. Or even live things don't bother me.
I was going to say the dead bat doesn't bother me. It's the live one that.
I think it was when Governor Locke was in office. There were bats in the
right.
governor's residence, and
for the
that
next
kind of
5
raised
years
the
awareness.
Awareness, we'll call it.
Yeah,
So, question for you: down here on the bottom, you have some pictures of animals and all. Is the one on the left here a flying squirrel? Is that what that is? I may be totally wrong.
Or is that a bat?
It's
There's
a
a
bat
bat.
hanging upside down.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bat hanging upside down. Okay, because I thought it was it looked like a small picture. I thought it was a flying squirrel, but I had a neighbor that had a flying squirrel in their house here just a little while ago. So.
I didn't know we had
Yeah.
flying squirrels.
Oh, yeah, we do. I've seen them out in the woods, but it's the first one I've heard about that was in a house. I don't know if it flew in or walked in, but
Yeah,
they got it out.
I've heard of other squirrels taking up residence in attics, but no one's ever called me on a flying squirrel.
Yeah. His name wasn't Rocky or anything.
I will caution people, though, do not feed raccoons. Even if they think they're so cute, they grow up to become very vicious, and they have nasty claws, and they can just, I've seen the result of what some have done to people. It's just, it's not a thing to do. There's a reason they're called wild animals.
What is that South American one with the longer-nosed Mudagunde or something like that? We had one released out in Belfair many years ago, and
really?
It was up in our tree for a long time, and man, it was meaner than any raccoon, and it was taking out raccoons, but it looks like one just has a lot longer nose, and yeah.
Yeah, I saw one tied in a yard in Mexico once.
Yeah.
They were using it as a pet.
Yeah.
There's also nutria around us, which came from Florida. There's Skagit County was
Oh, I've
the
never
first place we've seen them. Now we're seeing them down in the Thurston County area. But they were supposedly going to be something that people would farm for quick, easy, cheap protein, and consumers didn't like them.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Carol, Ben, and Deb, by the way, I listened to you on the radio. Wonderful job.
Thank you,
Wonderful
and
job.
thanks to Jerry for running
Yep.
that again. That's one from the archives, and it's very important right now. So.
For those in the audience and those out on the internet, we've decided that we would like to get to know some of the employees, and that's why we have asked to have them brought in, and so that you can have an idea to know some of the employees and to understand some of the things that they do and we do as your county. People quite often just think all we do is take your money, collect your money, send out the sheriff, and collect that. There's so much more that has to be done each and every day. And it's important work that they do, because believe me, if they weren't there doing it, we'd be living a different life. So thank you, and very nice to meet you, Carol, Ben.
Yep. Carol ran our water quality lab for years.
Yep, I did.
How many years have you been with the county, Carol?
25, I'll be 26 next month.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in, guys. With that being said, are there any other department heads who would like to speak at this time? Elected officials, are there any elected officials who would like to speak at this time? Hearing none, well, then we will go ahead and move on to the next part of our calendar, which is item number 11, board report and calendar. Commissioner?
Well, I see the sheriff. I just want to comment. I know I was watching the news last night. I think every other story was about Mason County with some rescue or accident or problem. So you've been busy. I know that, sir.
They're starting to warm up.
Yeah. People come out, and I know we had a tragic accident here this week too. A young lady was killed from Shelton. That was tragic. And then up at Lake Cushman, had a couple, a rescue at Lake Lena Lake. There was people, campers lost, and then also another accident up there that sounded like it was very serious as well. So I know you've been busy.
It's good hiking right now, and there's some snow. A lot of early arrivals in the high country.
A lot of people are out. Okay, Mr. Sherman,
Please.
calendar. I'll be brief. Go back a week after our meeting on the 10th. We had I was not able to attend the Olympic Region Clean Air Agency meeting that we had, but I was in Olympia most of the week. I met with some contractors over the weekend, different projects that are going on, which are actually ramping up. Again, with the weather, seems to move things along. Did have some more conversations with individuals with the Ridge Motorsports, and they seem to be doing quite well. And I think they had a presentation at the EDC meeting on Friday, which I didn't attend. But we were off on here at the county on Monday. I had some constituents yesterday that were in Olympia, that run the Tides restaurant in just north of Little Wap, and they came up for the day and they went on a tour as well. I want to always remind people, if they do come to Olympia, that we have fantastic tour guides. The tour is free. Lots of people from out of state take advantage of it, as well as local citizens, so it's a great opportunity. Just come in the Capitol, and on the main floor, go to the desk, and they'll arrange for a tour for you. I have a meeting with the Squaxin Tribe tomorrow at, I'm not sure that I'll be able to attend because of the schedule in Olympia. And we're getting ready for, also on Thursday night, the 19th, I'll be speaking to the Hood Canal Lions over in Union at the Fire Hall, and that's at 6:30. And cutoff for bills out of policy committees is this Friday, so we'll have a busy week in Olympia, and I'll be back here for briefings on the 23rd, on Monday morning.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner. Let's see. Last week, Finance Committee meeting after our regular meeting. Then I also met with the EDC Regulatory Subcommittee to try and look for ways to simplify our regulatory method and allow for building permits and the like to get through quicker and faster. We had a regular Board of Directors meeting for the Economic Development Council, met with the Port Executive. We had a Skokomish GI Executive meeting. We're going to be at loggerheads, it appears, because the Skokomish tribe, not only have we been on the outside with the residents, but now they're on the outside with the Skokomish tribe as well, because they're taking some of the most important projects and made them so it cannot be funded through the federal government, and they were not happy with that. And tried to express to the Army Corps of Engineers, if you're losing the citizens and you're losing the tribe, you're basically losing everybody, because how are we going to support that if they can't? And
is it a difference between a flood control project and a fisheries project? Is that their?
No, they've just decided that some of them are not, in their words, where they would consider financially feasible for the impact that it would have. But the problem is if you do not do the setbacks, if you don't remove the certain dikes and do setbacks, you will just make the water flood on out, and that'll make both sides unhappy, because more sediment will get into the streams and will bring move the hydraulics would change. They need to get it like this in order to move as much water. By doing it what we're talking about, or not allowing that to happen, it'll flatten it out more, bring more sediment in, and make it worse for flooding and for the fish. And between them not being able to work it out Sounds like the Skokomish tribe will probably be appealing their decisions and moving it to another level. But they've gone back trying to sharpen pencils. We'll see what happens on that one. Sewer advisory meeting, Coastal Caucus. One of the big things going on at the Coastal Caucus right now, the discussions, is something that bleeds over to something else I'm working on. I'm the chair of the Alliance of Healthy South Sound and the chair of the Hook Canal Coordinating Council, and trying to get funding to the local entities is almost impossible. The water quality person from Pierce County did a survey to decide how much money is actually getting down to the projects in the South Sound. And if anybody knows, the South Sound, if you're going to put out a fire, you don't just throw water at the top. You have to put it at the bottom, and where the fish go all the way through. 1% is all that made it through for some of those projects, and that was such a tiny amount that it was an embarrassment. It should be. And EPA, I've been meeting with EPA. We're trying to look for a funding model that will at least give the people who are in the know of the projects an opportunity to move some of the funding there before it disappears all up in management on the top before it ever gets down there. With that being said, that Coastal Caucus is taking that up as well. EDC luncheon, and as you mentioned, Ridge Motorsports was there. Wonderful history. I actually enjoyed the heck out of it. Hard to imagine. What was it they said, Jerry? 20,000 people would attend the races here, and that was in the 60s. You know, imagine the difference what we're like and how hard it was to move people around. Jerry?
There were two races that they spoke of. One Seafair came,
Yeah.
And then there was also a forest festival, and the forest festival one was the one that they said drew over 20,000 people.
And that was,
unfortunately, it was such a brief period of time. And the other thing he commented was a matter of how much, how full the restaurants were, how full the lodging and whatnot.
all the words we want to hear.
Right.
And the funny thing is, you have to ask yourself, if that could happen back then, with marketing and the way we do things now, why can't that happen now? Because those are huge numbers, and the things that they're preparing to do out there, working on doing, they are now back in action on looking to put their money that they're raising towards making their product better and making their establishment better, and that, I think, is going to be better for all of us. With that being said, I will be meeting with them again here this next week coming up. Let's see. I went ahead and attended a Republican meeting. I went to the legislative call for the Association of Counties. We had our holiday and then back to our regular meeting. This next week I have a legislative call where we're doing that again to decide and put things together, that we're going to be meeting there on Thursday and going down and spending the day. So, Commissioner, I will probably be seeing you and taking every opportunity to lobby you. That's some of the benefits of having you there and having a commissioner there. Irregardless, I know as Mason County, we try to take advantage of that. And I'm just telling you that we try to take advantage of that. It's an opportunity that does come up, and I very much appreciate it because it opens doors and allows me to go in and do a few things that I probably normally couldn't have. Looking at this face, would you let me in? No, there's other things that are involved with it. And I also will be going to a Senate Ways and Means hearing on smelt. I never thought I'd end up being the environmentalist. That was never my call. But sometimes in life you get put in this position, that position. Something's broken. It's my job to fix it. So then the next thing I know, I'm the chair of these different environmental places, trying to make them run the best I can. And there's a bill out there trying to move money to find out what's happening with the smelt. The smelt levels are dropping so much lower, where the takes used to be at the 15,000 rate, then now it's down to 1,000 rate when we're doing for the citizens getting them. The salmon are getting smaller and smaller, and of course we all know that well populations and everything. And again, I never would have thought a few years ago I'd be up here doing the environmental briefing to everybody to let them know, but we go where we're called for the moment. Let's see, South Chamber, the Shelton Mason Chamber, I will be attending their luncheon. I think it's their State of the Union. Normally I don't do those things, but Commissioner Jeffries will not be available, so tag I'm it. And I will do the best that I can. West Sound Alliance, we have a teleconference, and then we also have another gathering, it looks like in Olympia. I will also be down in Olympia to speak on the transportation package, and I may see you there. That'll be on Wednesday. and North Mason School District. And after that, I think that's about it for the week, except for all the regular stuff that we do each and every day and all the people we meet with. With that being said, is there anything further?
No.
Okay. Hearing nothing further, we are adjourned.
So can you get the welfare card for that?